What's good? This is Josh Jones, ESQ, also known as a dope black lawyer, and you won't believe it, but robots are about to be arresting people. It's a it, it's gonna get bad out here for black people real soon, based on how they're gonna have these robots out here. So stay tuned, and we're gonna talk about all of that real soon. But before we get into that, I just want to welcome everybody back to Law and Hip Hop, the number one place for you to get legal information and news about current events that affect black people in hip hop culture. I promise you, we're going to give you that real. We're not going to be on here, talking about things in a way that don't make sense or trying to sound too smart. We're going to really talk to people how people really talk, and we're going to try to make sure that everybody can know the most information possible to prevent themselves from getting into trouble. So with that being said, welcome one more time. Let us know right now if you're watching live or if you're watching the replay and where you're watching from. So rep your city, rep your hood, let us know. As always, I'm down in the 305 Miami-Dade County. So let us know where you're watching from right now. All right. So with that being said, wherever you're watching from, I hope that you are either at work and getting stuff done, or not, or if you're watching the replay later on, maybe having an adult beverage, or whatever the case may be. So we're gonna get right into the headlines for this week. So there's a trial going on with actually I guess really not a football player who's too known, but if you're not a real football fan, but Travis Rudolph, he played a little bit in the NFL, but he was a standout player for Florida State back in the day. He's on trial right now for murder because of a situation where he got into it with his ex-girlfriend. She sent her brother and some more people over to his house, and they got into a real tense situation where, she told them, there's text messages, there's all types of stuff. So just to kind of give you a little bit more information, there are like day 2 or 3 of the trial right now. The trial started earlier this week in West Palm Beach, down in Florida, and she sent a text to her brother to shoot his shit up, referring to the defendant Rudolph. So her brother and a couple other gentlemen went down to the Travis's home, and Travis ended up shooting 2 of them, killing 1. So now he's on trial for that murder. He tried to use the stand your ground defense that people kind of started knowing about because of George Zimmerman. So he was not successful in being able to say he was standing his ground. If he would have been, then there would be no trial. So that's why we're here right now, waiting to see what's going to happen in this trial. The ex-girlfriend, she did say that her adrenaline was running and she was upset. She had accused Travis of putting his hands on her and doing stuff to her, which she actually later said was not true, and said that she actually was the person who was throwing punches and may have slapped him. So she admitted on the stand that she had deleted at least 1 text message. There's a whole lot of information going back and forth. They're different witnesses who are going to be taking the stand, but the ex-girlfriend was on the stand, and a lot of stuff has come out. So with regard to what's going on, a lot of people had a lot to say. So we're going to go on Twitter. This was a video that's kind of going around a little bit. People have been talking about this case as it kind of became relevant in the last week or so. So,
Stop calling your brothers and your cousins for every little argument, because you women sit on social media, you sit around, everybody killing everybody, but you never tell the truth that there's been 1,000 shootings and homicides trickle back down to you running your fucking mouth, or you calling somebody and exaggerating because you feel disrespected. Stop calling people. You get in an argument with somebody on the block, that's it, leave it there. You call your brother, now these niggas going through it the whole summer, and then somebody's child die about it. That's your fault. That's your fault. You can't sit back and say it's not your fault because they went too far. You shouldn't have called. Stop.
So we got this sister right here, Mona, who said that. Let's see what else they got going on. So, people kind of chiming in on the trial. The prosecutors are wasting so much time with their witnesses. what Travis Rudolph says happened that night.
When one calls for help flood into dispatch around midnight.
Things escalated so quickly.
For the first time, Travis Rudolph talks about the night he says 4 men showed up at his front door.
I just heard a loud bang, as if like the police was at the door.
In exclusive video, we can now see everything playing out on security cameras.
This all happened within seconds, so my brother was the first one to get to the door, so I was worried about his safety as well.
Who is it? Where Travis at? Travis at?
According to court records, Rudolph and his then-girlfriend, Dominique Jones, got into a fight earlier that night.
Open this door, bro, because this got me. Dominique, stop.
Who are you calling it, bruh?
Afterwards, she texted her brother, Keyshawn Jones. Evidence shows they both made threats towards Rudolph.
As soon as I came outside, literally, Tyler, he sucker punched me to my left eye. It was Tyler and Sebastian. They was kind of trying to corner me in. And Tyler, he had pulled out his firearm. And during that time, Tyler pulled out his firearm. Sebastian was like, you messed with the wrong girl. You're gonna die tonight. And then that's when I went back inside and grabbed my firearm.
The fight spilling out into the street. The video shows Rudolph then running off his property with an AR-15.
I had to do what I had to do, you know what I'm saying, to protect me and my family. My brother was on the ground getting jumped by 2 of those guys, getting kicked. So that's the reason why I went down the street. While they're all in their car, I see 2 firearms pointing at me and my brother. And I couldn't believe it. It's just a split decision where I just felt like it's either me and my brother or these guys that's, you know what I'm saying, gonna get hurt.
Rudolph firing 39 rounds, the 4 men speeding off.
I know people at home are going to question, okay, he has an AR-15 and he fired.
So he had an AR-15, which is going to be legal in Florida July 1st for pretty much everybody to have whatever guns without any type of permitting, without going through sufficient background checks. So that's kind of what happened. He went and got his gun. They had guns. It escalated over name calling. As you can see, the young lady, she did hit him. She admitted to that. But all of this is from a simple incident, causing all of this to happen. So here's some of the testimony we were talking about. The young lady took the
And
stand.
you're not just trying to distance yourself, right?
Distance myself from what?
Well, you didn't want anyone to know that you were communicating with them because you didn't want to get in trouble.
Get in trouble for what?
Well, you could have been in trouble for setting this whole thing up and setting this in motion. Weren't you concerned?
Setting what up? Your client shot 84 rounds. There was no shots back. What did I set up?
Well, you sent somebody to go shoot him, didn't you?
Did he get shot?
You sent somebody to shoot him, did you not?
Did he get shot?
All right, Ms. Jones, you had to answer the questions, not ask them. All right, next question.
So there's the girlfriend going back and forth with Travis Rudolph's attorney. It seems like people seem to be wanting justice for Travis. This Travis Rudolph trial is disturbing to watch because the wrong person is on trial. Dominique Jones is the type of woman I pray my son never runs into. Shorty says she didn't have to disclose she was married because he didn't ask. Free Travis Rudolph. Not sure what that one's about. The witness is sassy with the judge. So this trial is being televised. We're going to probably watch some of this and break it down a little bit as well one day next week if the trial's still going on. At this point in the Travis Rudolph trial, I think the prosecution would be happy to convict a juror if they had a chance, or anyone in the courtroom, just to get a conviction. They searched his house longer than they searched different locations for guns. The ex-girlfriend in this case needs her ass beat and she needs to go to jail. She doesn't give 2 shits. Her actions have caused a man to lose his life and another to possibly be locked up for the rest of his. Disgusting. So the sentiment is kind of consistent. The people are not looking favorably amongst at the girlfriend. And it's very unfortunate. I mean, she kind of she did set this in motion. She lied and exaggerated what happened. And, now we got one black man who's gone and another black man who may get sent away. Watching the testimony, I wasn't really sure. It seems like she may feel bad about what happened at this point. But, you you got to be careful what you do, because everything we talk about has, you know, repercussions. So hate to see all of this happening every time, but, you know, hopefully somebody else can learn from it. A good thing, I think, is the fact that Travis did have this video camera. So I always encourage people to have cameras. You know, as long as you're not breaking the law, the camera's not going to do anything to you. I have a camera in my car. I think everybody should have dash cams in their car for capturing the road. So if anybody hits your car, you don't have to worry about them lying about what happened. You don't have to worry about anything. If somebody comes to your house and you know, does anything, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, the footage is showing for itself. You know, four cats showed up to his house, looking like they was ready to do something. They was out there beating on his brother, and he saw guns, and they did have guns. So she can't say they didn't have guns, but you know, Travis did what he felt like he needed to do. We'll see what the jury believes in the end. And you know, here's a picture of Travis when he was a football player, right here, number 15. It says, right is right, wrong is wrong. Praying for you, Travis. Dominique Jones should be held accountable for the setup. I mean, it was a setup. She sent them cats over there. So, you know, we'll see. I guess the prosecution has decided not to bring charges against her and has viewed her as a victim. But, man, hate to see this for sure. Moving on to the next story. We won't spend as much time, but Shaquille O'Neal is amongst celebrities who are being sued over promoting cryptocurrency. So a lot of people may or may not be aware, but there's a dude, his name's Sam Bankman-Fried. He's like 30 years old. His mom is associated with the Democratic Party, and he was able to you know, come up big time with the FTX cryptocurrency, and they basically found out that he was running a Ponzi scheme. But in the midst of all of this, there are a lot of celebrity endorsers and people who were saying, "Oh yeah, jump on the crypto." I think Kim Kardashian, all types of people. I mean, it was just hot, sexy. They didn't really know what it was. A lot of them were just trying to, you know, jump on the latest bandwagon, make some money off of it, and it became known that it was a Ponzi scheme. So people who were endorsing that have been sued. Shaq is amongst the people who's getting sued. Shout out to the Qs. You know what I'm saying? I don't think this is going to be too bad for Shaq, but he also has another suit for an investment that he had called the Astro Project, and they're saying that it's an unregulated security. So there's a certain way that you have to register securities if you're dealing with securities, and they're saying that Shaq may not have done that. And you know, we will see. There's going to be a criminal trial for Sam Bankman-Fried, and then there's going to be all the civil trials that are going to be taking place. We'll keep tuned on that. If you really want to know about investing, if you want to know about trading and things like that, you know, make sure you do your research. There's all types of platforms. You got Earn Your Leisure. You got, you know, Wall Street Trapper. All types of people out here that are just, you know, putting in the work for the community, making sure people understand how these investments work, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, whether it's, you know, NFTs, crypto, whatever the case is. So make sure that you are informed about all of that stuff. So on social, it's not as big of a story, but you know, they are talking about it. Shaq is a fool, so this picture right here is funny just because, but it's talking about Shaq was served with 2 lawsuits, but there's not a lot of talk about, like, you know, what people think about it. He finds himself entangled in 2 distinct legal disputes stemming from his engagement with FTX. NBA legend is back in crypto trouble. So yeah, they're not really saying too much, but as stuff comes out, we'll see what transpires from this. And until then, we're going to move on to the next story, where a lot of people may not have known. I didn't really know until just the other day that T.I. and Tiny had filed a lawsuit alleging copyright infringement for the OMG Girls against a toy maker. So I didn't really watch like that, but apparently, like, one of Tiny's daughters and her friends have a group called the OMG Girls, and they used to talk about it on the Family Hustle or whatever back in the day. So they stopped being known as the OMG girls back in 2017, and you know, there's a toy maker making dolls that had a likeness to the OMG girls. So they had a trial recently, and T.I. and Tiny were alleging that there was $100 million worth of damages from the sale of the dolls and things of that nature. MGA, which is the name of the toy company, the owner, Isaac Larian, he said that this was a shakedown. He said he's not happy. He wastes a lot of time and energy to deal with an extortion. One of his attorneys argued that the trademark for the name of the group expired when the group formally disbanded in 2018. So they did have a hit with a song called Gucci This, Gucci That, which was on the Billboard Hot 100, but they did lose their suit. So, you know, you got to make sure that you are protecting your IP, intellectual property. If you are out here and you want to, you know, make money off of other people's creativity, you have to get their permission. You know, if they have a copyright or if they have a patent or a trademark. If they don't, then you don't need to, but, you know, you have to be very careful. So it always helps to kind of consult with someone before you go out there and do it, because people always talk about ask for forgiveness instead of permission, but when it deals with IP, that could cost you a whole lot of money that you don't want to have to deal with. I've seen it time and time again where people, you know, don't do their due diligence and use somebody else's intellectual property and end up having to either abandon their company or pay a lot of money to another company in order to, you know, get out of whatever happened. So, again, we're going to see what the talk is on Twitter, but a lot of people I don't think know about this. But we have here the way they really thought they did something, LMAO. It was because T.I. and Tiny were saying LOLG Dolls copies the aesthetic of the girl group that T.I.'s daughter was in called the OMG Girls. So, you know, not a whole lot of people talking about it, but wasn't nobody worried about OMG Girls. Tiny and T.I. are broke and want money. I don't know how they know that, but that's funny. And the rest of the stuff is not related. So not too much talk about that. And the real lesson is make sure that you are protecting yourself when it comes to intellectual property. Don't use other people's stuff. I just heard a song right before we got on here. The girl has a new song called Area Codes, where in the chorus she's saying, I got hoes in different area codes, and talking about she didn't know that Luda had a song like that. So, you know, we'll see what's going to happen with that. That might be another situation that's going to pop up. A singer named Callie, spelled with a K. You know, she's singing about her hoes and how they break bread for her and all that stuff. So I don't know. Luda might let it go. He's making that Fast and the Furious money. He might not be tripping. So we'll see if he makes any type of statement about that. And then we got another story dealing with a attorney out of Wisconsin. This story got a lot of play kind of back in the day when it first happened in 2020, but she was at a BLM protest after George Floyd, and she spit on a young man who was out there at the protest. So now she is serving 60 days in jail. She actually turned down an opportunity to have her sentence suspended and to do probation, basically saying that she can't go nowhere. She can't even volunteer without people like yelling at her and chastising her and doing things of that nature. She said her life is basically over. So she's like, I don't mind doing the time. Lock me up. So she's right now serving that time. Her name is Stephanie Rapkin, 67-year-old attorney from Wisconsin. So let's see. I think we got some video just so I can show you. Nasty lady. Tell me what you think. Do you think 60 days is enough? Initially, she was charged with a hate crime. So here's a picture of her right here. You can see she's about to spit on this boy. But I saw a video. I want to show you the video. Oh man, I just saw it. Where'd it go? Nobody touched you. Nobody touched you. Don't come out here and let somebody touch me.
Keep going.
So yeah, she tried to pull that typical Karen move. Somebody touched her. Ain't nobody touched Stephanie Rapkin, and now she out here trying to make it seem like her life is over because of what happened. So this is a good point right here. Larry Person was sentenced to 70 years in prison for spitting on the police, but she only got 60 days. Something ain't right. Now, I think the 70 is probably too much, and the 60 might not be enough. But, well, no, I know the 70 is too much. The 60 might not be enough. But, I mean, she chose not to go not to get probation. So, and aside from that, y'all already know she got lucky she spit on people at this protest, because there's a lot of places where she would have got her ass whipped. Let's keep it 100 now. You can't go out here spitting on people. Everybody know that. And she's 67 years old. 3 years ago, she would have been 64. Nah, bruh. She spit on that young man who was out there peacefully protesting the murder of a black man. Come on, man. That ain't cool. So, stay strong while you locked up, Stephanie. She's actually still facing more charges for violence against the police in the same incident. So, she may not be only doing 60, but she'll be locked up for at least 60 days. So this next story is kind of wild, but in New York City, the police department have robotic security dogs, I guess. I'm not exactly even sure how to describe it, but you can see in the picture that they've got this yellow dog. This thing, they've got two of these. They cost $750,000. They previously tried to bring out DigiDog, is what they're calling it, in 2020, but they stopped because people said it was too creepy. So, just to give you a little bit of information, it was used before in a home invasion. They're planning to use it to do surveillance, which is going to be done by reading people's faces, and they're going to be able to tie people's faces to the mug shots that they have on file. So it's another way, basically, to stop people without really stopping them, because they already got caught trying to search people without cause. And that was found unconstitutional. So this is another way to try to do this. And New York City has a black mayor, so it's not a race thing completely. Well, it is, because most of the people, well, not most of the people, but black people, Hispanics are disproportionately arrested in New York City, as they are most places. So using these artificial intelligence and robotic dogs for AI purposes is going to cause for more black people, more Latin people, brown people to be stopped and harassed by the police. So, we should all be fully against this, but this is what's going on in New York, and you already know how it is. Once something happens in one place and it gets by, you're going to see all the copycats that's going to come trying to do the same thing. So, if you're like, oh, I live in Cali, I'm not tripping. It's coming to Cali. If you're like, oh, well, I'm in Texas, you know it's coming to Texas. You know it's coming to Florida. If they're doing it in New York City, which is supposed to be like a democratic place, which is, I guess a lot of people think means, you know, less racist. I don't necessarily agree with that, but you know all these redneck Republican towns is going to be looking to do the same thing. So, you know, stay woke out here, because it's coming. It could be coming for you as well. Speaking of Cali, there's a Bay Area rapper named LULG. I think that's how, I don't know how to say it, Lil G. I guess it's like Lil G, but Lil G. And he looks 12 years old, but right now he's 24 years old. And he was recently sentenced to 21 years for a fatal shooting. And essentially he was facing 50 years, but he agreed to the 21 years to avoid, you know, doing that more serious time. 21 is a long stretch, but I mean, this is like a typical story. We don't have to get too into it. You know, I hate to see it. They say he was an up and coming rapper back in 2018. He was in a group, SOB RBE, and apparently, you know, he was on the Black Panther soundtrack with Kendrick Lamar, and people thought he was up, but you know, now he's down. He ain't not gonna be recording, you know, until he's in his 40s, and soon he'll be transferred to prison. But it kind of makes me think about the verse J. Cole just had on his song with Lil Durk, where he was featured with Lil Durk, talking about, you know, don't be talking about Lil Buddy when he's dead, if you weren't talking about Lil Buddy when he was alive. But this is a little different. I mean, we need to be talking about Lil Buddy to try to save other Lil Buddies, because it's sad. You know what I'm saying? To see these promising careers, young people who, you know, have potential and, you know, their whole lives in front of them, to kind of just be going down. And obviously, you know, there's also the other person who lost their life, a 26-year-old man who lost his life. So, you know, it's always two, right? We keep losing them, and we got to figure out a way to make sure that we can, you know, not continue to go down this rabbit hole, because it's just gonna take us deeper and deeper. You know, there's a little kid. He's like he looks 7 years old, literally. That be with the rapper Finesse 2 Times in Memphis. He be in the club. They be smoking weed. He be all on the, you know, IG, TikTok, everything. And we got to make sure that, you know, we can get the best examples for these kids, and people who actually can make a difference are doing stuff for them in their lives. So, you know, it's always a young black man or a young black woman or whoever that we see on these cases. You know, they try to paint it like they're animals, but really they're doing the best that they can. And, you know, a lot of times with the situation in the hand that they were dealt. But as a community, we got to step up and try to be more vigilant before this stuff happens. So, you know, my thoughts is with everybody involved in this situation. Personally, I feel bad for you know, both families. And, you know, we're going to go from talking about the kids to talking about 2 grown-ass men out here playing on social media, acting like they don't have good sense. Well, before we do that, let me see if there was anybody really talking about Lil G on Twitter. Nah. Not really. They're just kind of saying he was sentenced. But let's go and jump into this story. It's been all on the news. You're going to see a picture. It's going to be DJ Envy with Gunplay, but it really stems to a situation. You got to go back a little bit, peel back the onion a little bit. So Gunplay got involved into a situation where DJ Envy and Rick Ross have been battling for the last week and a half or so over a car show that's not even on the same day. So they just been going in on each other for whatever reason. They just been, you know, going in. So Rick Ross has a car show that's going to be this weekend coming up in Atlanta. Envy had a car show that was in Memphis last weekend. So you know, we'll watch a little bit to just kind of figure out. I'm gonna show you how it's being reported that all of this started, and then we're gonna talk about the legal issue that's a part of all of it. Don't know, but need to know, because people call me all the time doing the same thing. So let's see. Let me share my screen. So they're saying it started, you know, Rick Ross is talking about how it started from his perspective while being interviewed on the podcast Drink Champs.
At the heart of every Buick SUV is you.
Just playing. So we're not gonna watch that. But so on Drink Champs, Ross says Envy was never on my level. When asked if he was going back and forth with the host regarding the show, I wouldn't do that. Envy, I rock with Envy. I F with Envy, but in the car game, he's not ready for that. I support his shit, and anybody that go there got a lot of heart. In response, Envy criticized Rose, who at the time was struggling to get the required permits for his show. So, you know, they just was going back and forth. It seemed like funny banter for a while. And then, you know, Envy was talking about, why does Rick Ross rent out his house? You know, because apparently they rented it out for, he said he rented it out for Airbnb, but he rented it out for the movie Coming to America. He talked, you know, bringing up the old stuff with Officer Ricky. So they just kept going back. Rick Ross invited DJ Envy wife to come clean his house and polish his be his pickleball paddle polisher. So I don't know what he was trying to insinuate. You know, talked about his wife, you know, faking orgasms and all that. And you know, Fat Joe gonna get his fat butt involved. Not that fat anymore, but you know, he's saying he didn't like the back and forth. And
don't like what's going on with Rick Ross and DJ Envy. Don't like it. I love them both. Beautiful men, in their own right, successful, do their thing. I don't like where it's going. I know I've had my share of beefing with people worthy. You know what I'm saying? But don't like it because they both beautiful, beautiful people.
Yeah. And not only just beautiful people, but like I said, they beefing over a car show on 2 different days in 2 different cities. You know, one don't even got nothing to do with the other. It's just idiotic. And then we're gonna talk about Gunplay, who was an artist for Rick Ross. So we're gonna get into what happened. Gunplay was having a conversation on the phone with DJ Envy and Charlemagne, unknown to DJ Envy that it was being recorded.
Envy.
Play, what up, bro?
What's up, man? Why you talking crazy, man?
Talk crazy about who?
About me, my brother. What I had to do with anything, man? And my wife posting a GoFundMe, man. My baby was sick, man. She had a heart defect, my brother. Why has nothing to do with cars? Envy, for real. You know I'll slap the right? For that. You know that, right?
We ain't doing all that.
No. I want to be clear. I want to be clear here. You know I would slap the out of you about that, right?
And then we can fight, but that's not the reason I'm saying that.
So I'll be wrong if I'll be wrong to handle my business then, right?
But what's your business?
I just want to chime in here and tell somebody to slap the shit out of them. That's a real Miami thing to do. So that's real ignorant, but shout out to Gunplay. That's real Miami right there.
I'm having a conversation with you. If you feel like I disrespected you, I'm talking to you like a man. I'm like, nah, I would never. And if you feel I did, I apologize. That wasn't my intention.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest. I can't continue no conversation and apologize to somebody who said they're gonna slap the shit out of me. But DJ Envy, he did it. He's from Jersey or whatever. That's how they rock. Salute.
My wife is affected by that, my brother. That's.
I apologize.
Thank you, my brother.
If you clear it up, I will, because I have no problem.
So I'm assuming that the call was supposed to be private, but nobody knew that Gunplay was recording.
That is a fact.
Yeah, because when you come at somebody like a man, you know, in my opinion, and you want to actually really have a conversation and move forward with something, or however you feel.
So now we're gonna jump ahead a little bit because we don't really care about it.
Another thing that people got to understand too, right? And this is a side note. It is against the law to record somebody's phone conversation and not tell them. That is against the law.
I can't stand it. I don't know why people do
Now,
that.
and I want people to understand, right? Florida is where this happened, right? Under Florida statute 93403, secretly audio recording of another individual is a third-degree felony offense, punishable up to 5 years in prison and a fine. That is a fine. So now, district attorneys from Florida have been calling me like crazy because you're not allowed to tape somebody's phone call and put it out.
Yeah.
Like
That's crazy.
You gotta be smarter.
I agree. People gotta be smarter.
And I think it's so whack to record somebody's phone call, especially when you have a conversation like a man. And I think men need to do men things. And I think recording somebody's conversation and not telling them to put it out, that's not a man thing.
I agree with that. But at this moment, you know, the man thing to do is to just give a public apology.
So, what's the streets talking about with regard to DJ Envy being told he'll get slapped? And talking about the police thing. So, Gunplay checks DJ Envy for speaking on his daughter. And for the record, Envy saying he didn't really talk about the daughter or the wife by name, but he did mention the situation, saying that he had a GoFundMe for his sick daughter. So, DJ Envy. This DJ Envy, Rick Ross, and Gunplay feud beef is hilarious. This whole issue between DJ Envy, Gunplay, and Rick Ross is all because Rick Ross is a corny nigga. I don't know. Watch the ends now. Gunplay's wife should sue DJ Envy and iHeartMedia for emotional damage and generalized anxiety. I don't think she'll be successful there. She relived her trauma because of Envy, never mind the violence. I hope Gunplay and his wife sue the F out of DJ Envy for harassment and emotional distress. How was his car show issue with Rick Ross, but Gunplay got pulled into it? The baby and GoFundMe ain't have a damn thing to do with anything. Rick Ross helped Gunplay attorney fees and a lawsuit against DJ Envy and iHeart radio station in New York City. Lawsuits will stop this wild, wild west of slander, coast to coast. Stop the violence and file lawsuits and add to your children's inheritance. Leave your kids a mint. So we've talked about defamation a little bit on here. So in order for you to even have a defamation case, the one big thing is that somebody has to lie on you. And then there's even more, exceptions when you're a public figure, celebrity, things of that nature, about how much people can talk about you versus a private citizen and things of that nature that we haven't talked about that also go into play. I mean, I don't think a defamation suit is the way to go here. Says a guy who calls himself DJ Envy having a conversation with another guy who calls himself Gunplay, talking about men things. This is all so bizarre. So glad my friends and I call each other by our real names. That's stupid. Supposedly that's why he recorded him and DJ Envy speaking. Gunplay wants to put it on the show as a storyline. I never thought this man was attractive. He looks mean. So I'm guessing Gunplay must be on Law and Hip Hop. I mean, dang, this is Law and Hip Hop. He's never been on here, but if you want to come on, Gunplay, holla at your boy. We'll be glad to have you come on. But I guess he's on Love and Hip Hop. Probably the Miami one, I would imagine. And they're saying that's going to be a part of his storyline. So, it's going on and on. People basically just kind of, it seemed like more people is siding with Gunplay. But OMG, Envy quoted Florida statutes because Gunplay recorded their phone conversation. I get it, and not to be dismissive, but OMG. So, it seemed like a lot of people on Gunplay's side were thinking the whole thing is funny. But, I mean, the whole situation, has escalated. These cats was having to, compete, not even really compete in car shows, different car shows. And, as a result, talked about, the wives who got bread, who don't have bread, all types of stuff. So this is how people get hurt, man. Just trying to have too much fun, going too far with the entertainment. But assuming that it's real, I think almost everything you see on social media and whatnot is not real. the whole thing is probably, you know, fake. Because I just can't imagine somebody telling me, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you, and then my next statement is being, hey, my brother, let's talk this out like men. If I offended you, I apologize. Because now I'm not in a position to even be able to do that. But, you know, because that's how they played it out, I think it might be fake, my brother. So, with that said, Envy actually was quoting some pretty good law. He had the exact Florida statute. It is a felony in Florida and other places as well to record people without their consent. So there's some states where you don't need two people to agree to be recorded, which is actually most of the states. But then there's a handful of states where you need two. So, you know, if you want to record somebody, you got to have their permission. I would probably want to have them on the recording, acknowledging that we have permission. Or even like, you know how like now when you go on Zoom, it says this call is being recorded. Like I would want it to be like obvious that the call is recorded. You ever notice like when you call places and they say, thank you for calling, you know, AT&T, you're speaking to Billy on a recorded line. How can I help you? Like I would want to make it real clear that it's recorded. But I'll show you kind of like just so you can see the map of the U.S. Most places you're cool recording people without permission, but it's a few places where, you know, you probably won't go to jail, but you could. So, you know, Washington, Montana, California, Missouri, Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Vermont, New Hampshire, I think that's Massachusetts, and Florida. You know, you're facing potential arrest for recording people without their permission. So, I mean, that's just that. You know, those are the stories we have for this week. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm happy that we were able to run through these stories. I think we had some good conversation, some good dialogue. If you had any questions about anything that we talked about, you know, you can always send an email to holla@dopeblack.lawyer, or send a video recording, audio message to speakpipe.com/dopeblack.lawyer, or you can comment on the video as well on YouTube. So if you have anything else, if you need a dope black lawyer, you can also reach out to us and we can connect you. We have a nationwide network of black lawyers who are all dope at whatever it is they do, whether they do personal injury like me, whether they do criminal defense, if they help people with bankruptcy, if they help people with any other type of legal issues. You know, everybody needs to have an estate plan. Everybody needs to have an estate plan. Everybody needs to have an estate plan. If you don't have an estate plan, you need to get an estate plan. So we can help connect you with people who can help you with that. And even to take it a step further, you at least need a will, but you probably should have a trust. I was just looking at I can't remember who the celebrity was, but this lady's it's a white lady. Some of y'all might have heard of her, some not. She's kind of been appropriating black culture a little bit. She had a book. It was like, "Girl, go wash your face. Girl, stop apologizing," or something like that. But her ex-husband died in February he had a heart condition and found out that he had fentanyl and cocaine in the system, and she was talking about how you know, she's been handling the estate and how much work it is. But, you know, if you have a trust, you can lay out exactly what you want to happen with your estate, and your loved ones don't have to deal with it. So everybody needs to have an estate plan. But the point is, holla at us. We'll get you connected with dope black lawyers, and that's that. So we're going to be back next week. We may do a bonus episode. We might just take a day and just watch that trial with Travis Rudolph on Monday and just talk about it as it's going on live. So tune in, turn on your notifications, subscribe, turn on your notifications, whatever it is you got to do to be able to know when we go live so that we can, you know, watch it and talk about it. So I appreciate you taking the time, spending it with me. Again, I am the Dope Black Lawyer, Josh Jones, ESQ. You need to get a DBL. Remember that. So I will holler at you next week. Peace.